Hey everyone, TimaeuSS here, and welcome to another Honkai Star Rail video. Well, here we are. You probably click on this video because you're either here to defend Jing Yuan, or you're here to step on him even further. Well, I just want to provide a story of how this Jing Yuan drama came about, because I was there for CBT 2, CBT 3, and I think Jing Yuan definitely deserves some love, and I'll try to clear up some of the information around Jing Yuan and why he is not seemingly strong in comparison to the stuff that's being released lately. Okay, first of all, I just want to say, regardless of how you play, you should be playing because you like the character, whether or not it's for meta or for waifu or for husbando purposes. And if you worry that Jing Yuan cannot zero cycle clear, he can. All right, on the Jing Yuan main subreddit, Jing Yuan can zero cycle clear at E0 S1 with only 4-star. Doesn't even need Bronya. But with that said, this is some crazy Jing Yuan stats. 70% crit, 174% crit damage, running attack boots, hitting that 3.5k attack, and running attack boots for going speed so that the support Asta, Ting Yun, as well as I think who's the third one? Yukong can fully support him, allowing him and enabling him to do what he does. All right, I did pull for Jing Yuan when he came out, and before we dive deeper into the current situation, let's go all the way back. All right, story time with Papa Tim. Story time with Papa Tim. Let's go all the way back to the CBT closed beta days. So back then, during the closed beta, we did have a Jing Yuan's banner, right? And of course, in the closed beta, we only access to Seele, then Jing Yuan. And Jing Yuan's CBT performance was incredible. Like, he was so damn good. All right, people called him the AoE Seele, which of course we know it's not not possible right now. Imagine Seele but AoE. It's not possible at the current moment. That would require so much power creep. But he was heralded as the second coming of the CN Lord. Right, because of course his background story is really cool. He's a very chill guy, but he's a general, and all of the promotion around him with the short animation, all of that stuff that came out later, basically cemented him as a very interesting and awesome character. Now, the problem with that is because of how strong, or how people perceived him to be, right? There was starting to have a notion of skipping Seele for Jing Yuan. Now that's where we went downhill. It all started from there. There was a very strong sentiment in saying that Jing Yuan is so meta that if you pull him, he's going to be very difficult to get power crept, and all you have to do is pull a Jing Yuan and you're good for single target and AoE. And people were skipping Seele for it. Okay, so fast forward to the release of the game. Of course, a lot of people did just pull Seele for waifu purposes, and so I did as well, of course. And Sele's performance was incredible. She was really good. And people were like, oh my god, if Seele is this good, does that mean Jing Yuan is going to be even better? How? AoE Seele? Imagine 3 Sele's. I cannot imagine. So people were really waiting for Jing Yuan, and because of the CN bros favor their CN generals, right? It's, of course, cultural, very acceptable. So they decided to obviously all wait. And boom, Jing Yuan banner drops. The payment system broke down. Jing Yuan was so massive that the top-up system for Honkai Star Rail broke in CN. It never ever happened across any other gacha games that I can remember in recent history for CN, but did happen for Honkai Star Rail. Jing Yuan broke the top-up system. Okay. However, amidst all of the cheers and happiness that Jing Yuan has brought to the CN community, suddenly all the biggest content creators have started posting their test results for Jing Yuan. And let me tell you, it was not that pretty. Okay, they thought Jing Yuan was going to out-damage Seele. It was basically double or even triple his damage performance. But unfortunately, it does not even come close at the time of its release. Now, I have to play both sides because I think a lot of people only see one side. But the other side is, when they pulled Jing Yuan and then started comparing him to Seele, they're comparing to a Seele that already had weeks of basically gear farming to build Seele, right? Seele has a very strong relic set. The quantum set is one of the best in the game. It's got quantum damage increase, so DI is always fantastic, and then a 20% damage pen on quantum weak. So Seele, coupled with the memory chaos buff at that time, if you guys remember, once the character get an extra turn. Alright? The character got an extra turn. And for Seele, that was crazy because you can now basically attack, trigger resurgence, ult, trigger resurgence, get an extra turn in memory chaos, attack, trigger resurgence, and if your ult is back up, trigger another resurgence. 8 turns. 8 turns in one cycle. Seele blew everyone out of the park. And Jing Yuan, because most of his damage is tied to the Lightning Lord, did not benefit that much. The extra turn basically only gave him 2 extra stacks of Lightning Lord, right? Which was, in comparison of 4 potential extra turns, well, I mean, it's very, very obvious which was better. So after that Memory of Chaos performance and the comparison between Seele, people are like, oh my god, we done goofed. And I think a lot of it stems from meta players that are chasing the meta. And I don't deny, I was also one of them, right? For those of you that tune into my early stream, I almost skipped Kafka E6 and went for Danghang E6 because I was like, Danghang seems just to be so much stronger, and can I play Kafka as a solo dot damage over time dealer? Can I skip building Sample and Luca because I don't have the resources to? But I went E6 for the naked Kafka, and she does insane amounts of damage, more than my E6 Seele right now, more than my E6 Seele. So a lot of the people that skip Seele for Jing Yuan for husbando purposes, they were totally fine, and they probably became the Jing Yuan mains, right? But a lot of people that skipped because they thought Jing Yuan was going to be a lot more meta were now very regretful of their choices. Okay, and also one thing, if we take a look, one problem with Jing Yuan right off the bat is the amount of investment you need. Not only do you have to farm for gear, you actually have to have this Lycon. I'll just remove chat just so you can see the effect, because this is absurd. A lot of the people that are free to play, once you reached Jing Yuan's banner, right, you probably, unless you're very lucky, okay, you probably did not have the resources to pull both the Jing Yuan, let alone idle on him, and then also get Jing Yuan's Lycon. But Jing Yuan's Lycon, in comparison to any other unit's Lycon, gave Jing Yuan way too much. The amount of boost this provides Jing Yuan, let's just take a look at E1, alright? This is a crit damage buff of 36%. This is already really, really good. And it increased the wearer's skill and ultimate damage by 80%. So this is 80% DI plus a 36% crit damage. If it stopped there, it would have already been a fairly decent Lycon, but it doesn't stop there. When the wearer uses their skill or ultimate, they gain Summonous Corpus, and this triggers off of LL, giving him another 48%. Okay, so this combined together is a 66 DI plus a 36 crit damage. If we look at Kafka's cone, Kafka gives a 24% DI compared to the here 66, right? This is really crazy. And Kafka gets a speed buff, which is arguably worse than a 36% crit damage. I'd rather have like a stacking attack buff. And then there's a dot applied. So Jing Yuan's Lycon, the amount of stats and boosts it gives to Jing Yuan meant that if you didn't have Jing Yuan with his Lycon, your Jing Yuan is going to be losing out a lot of his performances. And that further kind of added more people to jump from the Jing Yuan main comp into the Jingyuan regret side of the team. Okay, so now you're left with the Jingyuan mains against the entire world. So we've got the Jingyuan main subreddit, which is alive and well. I'm in there a lot. And they're trying their best to make Jingyuan work. And Jingyuan does work. We've seen E0S1 Jingyuan Memory Chaos Zero Cycle. We've seen so many things that Jingyuan can actually do. But I think what then triggered the Jingyuan mains was with the release of Blade and Kafka. Blade and Kafka were so damn strong. Blade basically self-sustains and outputs insane damage, whereas Kafka, it just completely destroys. Like, Kafka is honestly broken, okay? But let me break it down to you why that's the case. It's starting off with Kafka. I'm a Kafka lover. I am a Kafka lover. And the reason why I think Kafka, on paper, at the very first beginning, is going to look so much damn better on Jingyuan is because how easy it is to build her. Now, if you look at Jingyuan, you need 4 stats for him. Speed, because you need 141 speed for Jingyuan to hit that 2-turn before Lightning Lord moves. If you're not having any other buffers like Asta or Bronya push, right? It's just having Jingyuan by himself. And 144 is very, very difficult to hit. You need very high speed rolls on most of the gears. You need speed boots, so you're missing out on attack. And it's just a very difficult stat to hit. And on top of that, you have to have crit rate and crit damage. And of course, attack. So this makes him so damn hard to maximize in terms of the potential, right? You have to have essentially 4 offensive stats. 4 offensive stats: speed, attack, crit damage, and crit rate. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I farmed non-stop. And even my Seele, who is, I think, really, really beefed up, right? 3.1k attack, 71% crit rate, and a 228% crit damage. I don't have every single gear that has attack percentage, speed, and crit damage. It's just very difficult to get. So to reach Jingyuan's stats, right, for him to 0 cycle Memory Chaos, you're going to need a very beefed up Jingyuan. And we can see here, the amount of stat requirement you're going to need to get this is really crazy. This is the 0 cycle, right? He went attack boots, just getting speed from Asta. Whereas in comparison, if you look at Kafka, oh my god, Kafka, all you need is speed, really, right? Speed and attack percentage. But even for attack percentage, if you look at the gears, your chest is already attack percentage, so the substat cannot roll attack percentage. Your rope is going to be attack percentage, so you cannot roll attack percentage. Your boot is going to be speed, right? And your orb, you're going to run the lightning, which is the same as Jingyuan. But you have 2 extra pieces that you already have the ideal, if you count speed as well, you already have the ideal substats so that you no longer have to roll any of that because it's already a main stat, right? So you cannot roll it as a substat. So that's why, for those of you that pulled Kafka already, you basically just need to slap on some leftover gear. Like I put Sele's leftover gear that I was farming and received when I was farming for Seele, and she does 100 to 150,000 damage every time it's her turn, right? It's absolutely bonkers. And she doesn't even have the inner 2 pieces as a set, but because she can just take those leftover gear that has like good substats, for example, 20% attack, that's all she needs. 4 speed with some attack sounds good to me. Speed boots with some HP resist. Look how ugly this boots is, but it's completely fine. It's so easy to build Kafka, and by an extent, Blade. Instead of slapping attack like Kafka, just slap HP, right? And you get a Blade that is tanky. And Blade, even if he gets resisted, crowd controlled, it's okay. Whereas for Jingyuan, the biggest problem is he gets crowd controlled, and all of a sudden, his Lightning Lord is like, nope. See you next time. And he wastes a full cycle. That's one of the biggest problems. You waste a full cycle. It's really not ideal. Okay? And the other part is, I really don't think LL should be affected, because if you look at Jing Yuan in the story, like, he was under full CC, under full CC by Fantilia, right? This Jing Yuan could not even move, but freaking Lightning Lord strikes Fantilia in the back, and Jing Yuan's stuck. So why is this not canon? Like, we should have the Lightning Lord not be affected by Jing Yuan's CC. Even if freaking Jing Yuan dies, Lightning Lord should be able to be there and still keep attacking. Okay, no. But what I mean by that is, I don't think Jing Yuan should be counted. The CC should be part of the part of the CC. Well, this video has dragged on for way too long. Okay, to summarize, I really just wanted to make this video to make sure people understand why Jing Yuan is a lot more difficult to build in comparison to the other units that have been released. Right? Just because he's so stat hungry. But honestly, I think Jing Yuan, his potential is huge. Because as we've seen from Seele, who scales much better, right? Because we took a Kafka, naked Kafka, no gear, to Memory Chaos 10 and cleared it. We took a naked E6 S5 Seele to Memory Chaos, couldn't even clear the first wave. We know that these units scale much better with stats, and it honestly just takes time for people to hit that 141 speed with good crit rate and crit damage, and Jing Yuan will output insane amounts of damage. Okay? So for the Jing Yuan lovers, do not give up. Honestly, it's a single player game. Like, who cares if you clear Memory Chaos 1 or 2 cycles faster? It's not like we have a little freaking leadership board or a town hall meeting every day and saying that, oh my god, Jing Yuan is 2 cycles behind. Who cares? You know, don't be that person. If I was that person, I would have missed out on this. If I was that person as well, I would have missed out on this. Okay. Now, I know that MiHoYo probably will not buff Jing Yuan. Okay, I know that MiHoYo probably will not buff Jing Yuan, but I really hope 2 changes, if they were able to, you know, change things for Jing Yuan. I would say that, first of all, make the Lightning Lord be not affected by Jing Yuan's crowd control. Like, it's a separate entity. And the second part is, instead of giving Lightning Lord a speed buff, because right now, Jing Yuan's skill is buffed by speed, right? Here. Every time speed increase, hits per action increase by 1, you get a 10% speed buff. I think instead of giving that speed buff, they should make it so it's an action bar push, right? So every time speed hits per action increases by 1, you gain a 10%. So if you use your skill, it's a 20% action bar push. So that you know that if the Lightning Lord hits 10 stacks, Lightning Lord is going to take a turn, no matter what. No matter what. But I digress. I don't think MiHoYo will do that. But I just want to make this video because, you know, every day I wake up, I open up Reddit. The first post suggested to me is some Jing Yuan and Kafka comparison. But I honestly think he's okay. He's fine. I don't think he's bad at all. He does completely fine. He does completely fine. So, anyhow, wow, this is probably one of the longest video I make, and it's to defend our general, Jing Yuan. So, till next time. Till next time. Goodbye.